Hi, this is Gina Ann Costigan coming to you today with 50 and Fabulous, which you've learned through the trenches by Main Street Mortgage. Today I have the honor and privilege to have my dear friend on, and I'm just going to say her name, Julie K.
Yes.
So tell me how you say your last name for the 1,000th time today.
It's Kraschinsky.
Kraschinsky, yeah.
You're
And
not
I
the
didn't
only
know
one
why I
who
was a
struggles.
little confused.
That's okay. Kraschinsky.
We've only known each other for about 10 years now through, all of my networking and getting to know you through Mary Kay. And but we're going to start a little bit with you, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to where your beginning of time is.
Let's see, I was born back
and I have to put my glasses on because, I'm
okay.
aging myself.
Yeah.
So you said that you did start in corporate America. You started at $5 an hour to, $80,000 a year back in 1993.
Yeah, I retired from corporate America in 92.
What were you doing there? What was the company?
So ADP, payroll company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you retired at that time to raise your children. You had a daughter at the time.
I did not have a child. I got pregnant.
Okay.
I was married. Got married in 90, and then we started a family.
Right.
And interesting, I was up for a big promotion, and I didn't want to tell them I was pregnant because I didn't think I would get it, because I was really planning on going back.
Right. I played that card too.
But it took them forever to make a decision.
Right.
And I was then 5 months pregnant, and I was trying to hide it.
I did the same
thing.
Yes.
And so
it goes back to corporate America, like, I'm just eating too much.
She's a little chubby. And I'd be like, oh, no, I'm not going to do happy hour, because I was always in charge of the happy hour. We had a 501 club.
I'm just going to have water today.
And so I'd be going to the gym instead, and they're all like talking behind my back, like, why is she gaining weight and going to the gym and not going to happy hour?
Well, you had a reason, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you stayed home a couple of years.
Yeah.
And
I had 2 children then. I had my daughter.
Yes, Nikki.
Yep, I had her in December. This is her birthday. Right, brought her home on Christmas Eve,
I have
1992.
Yep.
Right, December birthdays.
I have January and February, so it goes Christmas, January, and February.
Oh my gosh.
And then you have your son, Zach.
Yep. Zach is they were 2.5 and 7 months.
Okay.
When I started my direct sales business with Mary Kay.
And now Zach is giving
Zach
you
is daddy. Yeah,
daddy.
He's a single dad of my grandson, Coast.
So cute.
He's going to be 3 in January.
Oh, I love it. That's just amazing.
That's
You're
so
so
much fun.
lucky.
So much fun.
So lucky.
So close, and I get to watch him a lot.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
Really
That's awesome. So from then on, after you stayed home, you wanted to go back to work. You started direct sales, and that was your Mary Kay business. And that, I know how successful you were. But tell me a lot about that. Tell me how you went. You started to when you were earning your 14 cars. I mean, you went from 0 to 80, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I started, it was 1995. I remember that because my son was just 7 months, and I felt like I had mommy mush brain. I'm like, there's got to be something I can do,
right.
but I want to be a mom first, right?
Yeah.
And my Mary Kay girl she asked me for 5 years to join her team, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to sell lipstick. I'm a corporate executive, And so I just said to her one day, she called me, and it was a perfect time because I was looking like, what can I do? And she said, what about this? And I'm like, all right, you can come over and tell me about it, but I'm going to say no.
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And when she came over and told me about it, I said to her, like, this sounds pretty good. I'm like, can I take naps? And she's like, I don't care. And I'm
that's funny.
You're not,
y'all can nap when your children nap.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, sign me up. So I signed up that day and never looked back.
Gosh.
About a year into it, I kind of, it was a friends and family thing. We didn't have internet.
Right.
Cell phones.
Right.
We had a corded phone. I always tease everybody, like, I had a corded phone that I had to call people and leave messages on their answering machine.
Which no one has those anymore.
Yes. And that's what I did. I did it on my kitchen counter. I started. People hung up on it. I didn't cold call people, but even referrals. People would be like, oh, I'm not interested. Why'd she give you my number?
Right, right.
And so it was a rough start.
Yeah, it's hard. Direct sales is hard.
Yeah.
With any business. Most definitely.
And all my friends, they were like, oh, we don't do parties, or I'll do it next year after the holidays.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I came in to earn some money for the holidays.
So it's not working so well.
So I was just innovative. I started wrapping things beautifully. And I said, well, do you need a gift? and that's really how my gift wrapping part of that started. And every year had done boutiques for like 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all your gift wrapping through eWomen. I'm like, yeah, those beautiful packages. I'm like, I need to win one.
Yeah, I know. So I just innovated and thought, well, you know,
got smart.
I'm not going to stop because I decided I'm not going to have other people's decisions not to help me out. And I just grew it. And a year and a half, I earned my first car as a consultant.
That's amazing.
While, you know, pushing my kids on the swings. I remember I had a headset that attached to like my belt.
Did you have a pager too?
We did not have pagers.
Okay.
No. But eventually got like the Nextel walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
phones,
the big,
right?
the big phone.
Yeah.
That was my first one too. Yeah, it was like this big.
Yeah.
And this thick. Yeah.
I had a car phone. I got a car phone because the guy I was dating before I got married had one of those big car phones.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And you brought it in the house, but you couldn't use it in the house.
Right.
It was like, I don't know. It was cool.
So you really started to just, I mean, take off with this.
Yeah, I didn't work a lot of hours. I was just very strategic. When my kids slept, I would make phone calls.
Right.
It got me out at night. When my husband would come home, I would hand them, you know, here they are. They're all clean, they're fed.
Yeah.
You know.
It's your turn.
And, you know, go out, have fun with my girlfriends, drink wine, you know, all that kind of fine stuff. And I come home with a money bag full of money, you know. So I'm like, well, this is kind of fun. I can have fun and make money.
Right.
So it just took off, and I never thought I dreamed that I would stay for.
So I mean, with the
years.
Levels of Mary Kay and to earn, 14 cars, you had to do a lot more than just, you know, a couple hours.
I built a team.
You built a team underneath you.
And what it was, a lot of it was moms from the preschool. Because
the mommy me clubs and moms,
we would drop the kids off, and they would come over, and I would have them over for coffee, pamper them, and then they would just say, well, can I do this?
Right.
And then my team just started building.
It's interesting too, because I remember going to a party.
Yeah.
And I think I just started here with Main Street, so that was about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought I could do both. And at that time, it was hard for me because I was working already 50 hours a week or 40, you know, whatever it may be. But it was interesting. And my girlfriend, I think, did it too. And then she switched to something else. But I just pulled out this bag the other day. I was traveling. I'm like, I need something smaller. I'm only going for overnight.
The travel
bag? My
bag?
Mary Kay bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least I got the bag, you know.
Well, a lot of bags.
But I mean, you're very well known in the community for all your networking and everything you do. And obviously, I mean, that leads me into your next big role. And that is something I'm a part of now. And I love it. And I'm so proud of you. I mean, you're the sales director and CEO of
we're executive managing director.
Executive managing director.
Of our Calabasas chapter.
For the eWomen Network. So when you took that over from Tony Caruso, who I've had the pleasure of also doing a podcast with.
Yes.
So how many people were involved in? And tell me a lot about your start with that. Tell me about how you've grown this chapter. I mean, I've seen it grow. Tell me about your relationship maybe with Sandra, the owner. I'd like to know a little bit about all of it.
Yeah, so at the time, it's interesting because I was in a BNI for my Mary Kay business, and one of my friends said, you have to come check out this other women's network.
Right.
I said, you know what, I'm just stepping back from BNI for a while. I'm like, you know what, I've been with BNI for 10 years, 2 different chapters, 5 years, and I'm like, I'm just going to take a break from networking and work within my business with my customers and my team. And she's like, no, you just got to come, don't join, just come. And so I went to an event that Tony was running. And it was smaller because she had just started, I think, the year before. And she was just building it from scratch. She built it from nothing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm in the room going, oh, yeah. And I knew a few people.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, it feels good. I'm like, And then, you know, when she said, hey, you know, if you're interested in joining, and I'm like, here, signed up on the spot. I said I wasn't going to do it.
I was the same way with eWomen. Right? I signed up right away. Yes. I loved it.
Yes.
That's when you were already running it. I loved it.
Yeah, I remember. And so I just said, these are my people. Like, I loved it. I loved that we're not exclusive, you know, that we're inclusive.
I do too.
So it's nice. So you give members choices of who they want to do business with, you know. So I just felt good. I felt like it wasn't salesy. It wasn't pushy. There wasn't clicky. And it was once a month, and I thought, well, I can do this. It's perfect.
And once a month, when you're involved in a lot of networking groups, it's nice.
Yeah.
Because I look forward to those Wednesdays. I'm always like, oh, I get to see this person, my friends. But I also look forward to sitting at a table where, you know, I don't know anybody. And I actually got to meet someone in eWomen that I'm very thankful for eWomen, because she's going to be my roommate here soon. Yeah, my
I
daughter's
did not-
moving out, and she
really?
is somebody that I was, actually looking to rent a room.
Oh my
and,
gosh, I got
she's-
chills. That's like,
yeah,
I love that.
and
You have
I
to
just
tell me after. When we're
yes,
off air.
and it just was from E-Women,
Yes.
and we happened to sit by each other, and I was telling the table like my daughter's moving out, and I definitely was looking for somebody maybe to rent a room. She goes, I need it, and
Oh
I
my
need a
gosh.
room, and
Oh,
we've
it was
been
perfect.
oh, and she's a doll. I
Oh my
mean,
gosh.
so
Awesome.
kind and sweet. It's a perfect match, but I mean that's all because of E-Women and
Right.
just getting
I
out
love
and
that.
networking, but sitting in the small group
Yes.
of tables.
Yes.
Then we get around and we get to
Right.
meet different people.
Yes.
And I've met some of my closest friends in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's something I look forward
Yeah.
to. But it's
And that's
definitely
awesome.
a large group now. I mean,
Well,
what do we?
Tony had it. I think when I took it over, there was like 80 people, 80 active people, because it is a lifetime membership. Some people step away, whatever, and then they come back. So,
That is another cool
yeah.
thing.
right, nobody else does it.
Nobody else does that because if you
No.
step away, then you got to come back and
Yeah,
repay.
you got to
and-
repay. Yeah.
yeah.
And this one, no, you just do an activation, like a $25 activation fee, and you just start paying your monthly dues again. And what I loved about it was
It's reasonable too.
I didn't have to get a sub if I couldn't go. I didn't have to feel responsible. Like I
Yes.
have to bring a referral, even if I didn't have one. After a while, they're like, "Oh, you haven't brought so and so referral." I'm like, I don't have one.
Right,
I don't
right,
want to.
right.
I was getting those type of referrals with my other networking, where it was just a very cool lead. Somebody mentioned they need a new lipstick, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's a great lead
Yeah.
for me." Where'd you hear it? At Target, and So fast forward, Tony's business. She had created a business while she was in E-Woman because she didn't have a business
Right.
when she started, right?
Yes.
And so she ended up. Her business started taking off. It was a speaker's business,
Right.
And so it started taking off. So she came to me and she said, "Hey, I was their business matchmaker. I think like twice. So I kept bringing people in." And she's like, "You're already bringing in
people in,
members.
right.
Why don't you take over? You'd be the perfect thing." And at the time, it was like 2019, and I was in that
I remember.
thing, right? And I'm like, And I remember because this is where I really started tapping into like listening to my intuition, and it's always been right. I always listen to my inner guidance. For me, it's God, but it's your inner guidance system.
Right.
I call it my, your GPS. It's my
Yeah.
genius power system, is what I call it.
I love
And
that.
it's always at work
love
for
that.
you, right? And so I sat with it, and I'm like, let me get all the information.
Right.
But right now it doesn't feel bad, And I was at a crossroads with Mary Kay. Did I want to stay? Do I want to
Go on,
continue?
change.
And I never thought I would leave Mary Kay in a million years.
Right.
Never thought. I thought I'd do it.
I
till
didn't
the end
think
of
you were going
time.
to leave Mary Kay
Yeah.
either.
And so I'm like, And so I said yes, and I started in January. Did my first event, and then February I went for training in Dallas. So I had only done one event, and then March was our big summit with
Yeah,
Sandra.
with Sandra, right? I was
And-
there.
Yes, and so that was my second event, and we had 125 people.
And I was
in
on the
room.
stage that day
Right?
because I was a new member. I
Yes.
remember, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was a lot. But it felt good, and I just continued to grow what Tony had, and I think we were the only three. There's 3 chapters, I believe, that were became back-to-back executive managing directors, all in all of E-Women.
Wow.
So when she became an executive, which means she brought in 100
Right.
members, right?
Mhm.
And then after her in 2021 during COVID was when I hit executive.
Yeah. I remember. I mean, we were doing a lot of Zoom calls at that
We
point.
did Zoom for a year and a half.
Yeah, and that was tough
We were
because
one
when
of the
you're
first chapters that
to do
took to do the
Zooms.
first Zoom.
I remember
too.
just sitting there,
Yeah.
Zoom was the way of life at that
Mhm.
point. So now it's
Yeah.
like, do you want to do Zoom or meet in person? I'm like, I'll meet in person.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I
but with
still do a
Tony
lot.
today, I tried to
Yeah.
figure out how to do a Zoom because she lived in Dallas.
Yeah,
so.
that was a little bit tricky.
But I do want to go next year to the event in
Oh,
Dallas.
yes, good. You can
And
sign up
I'm
for a
looking forward
conference.
to that. Yeah, I'm looking
That
forward
would
to
be
conference.
great for you. Oh my gosh. You have
So I
many
mean,
contacts.
you're doing such an amazing thing with E-Women. I'm seeing it grow. Everyone respects you.
Thank you.
Everyone always has wonderful things to say about
Oh,
you,
that's
and
nice.
yeah, it's a great group, and it's been fun, and I try never to miss. And it's once a month,
Yeah.
like we said.
Yeah.
But now you're doing something a little bit different. You took another leap of faith,
Mm-hmm.
and you are now doing Joyful CEO Life Community, but you're doing your own
That's my program that I designed.
That's your new program.
Yeah. So in 2021,
right.
I started. Well, I've been working with my mentor, who I met through E-Women,
Right.
just seriously for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And she really helped. She was instrumental in me taking a leap of faith because I kept having this tugging and pulling, like, I really want to help these women, especially women coming into eWomen as new business owners.
Right.
Either like 1 to 3 years, 1 to 5 years. They don't know how to be a CEO. Nobody teaches them how to be a CEO.
Right.
Same thing with Mary Kay.
Right.
Women started businesses. No one taught them to be a CEO. They were doing everything themselves, right? And they wouldn't hire anybody because they had to make money first before they felt they could hire somebody.
Right.
But I started way back in Mary Kay and figured out, well, how can I do this? How can I get help without outlaying too much money before money comes in?
Right.
I had my kids stamp my books, fill my bags.
Yeah.
Then I got a college student that would come.
Smart.
And, help watch my kids so I can work a little bit.
You're a hustler, Julie. You're a hustler.
Well, and I'm not gonna believe that. No, I don't use the hustle word or the busy word anymore. It's more of like ease and flow. Figure out a way to make it fun.
I like that word then.
And just have ease and flow.
Ease and flow. I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah, ease and flow, and that's what I do in my program. So I designed this program. My very first 3 clients, I didn't even have a website. I didn't have a company name. I didn't have a name in my program. I just told them, this is what I'm doing. And I kept getting this download of CEO being, oh my God, they're confused, they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed. And how can I change this? And now my program helps them have clarity, energy, and overflow. That's my CEO. Reimagined the word CEO.
I love it.
So the first 3 people just said, yeah, I'm in. Without even me, I made up a price.
Well,
they're like, okay.
They know, they probably, they know who you are, but they trust you.
Yeah, it was a leap of faith for them.
Right.
Because I didn't even have a program.
Right.
But I had been using the system that I was going to teach for myself on how to have more clarity and energy and overflow. And I do this through just really tapping into their intuition. And really, when women tap into their intuition, and men have it too. I asked my boyfriend a while ago, and I'm like, you have that gut feeling too? Like, have you ignored it? And it was right.
It was
He's
right.
like, oh, I can name,
And this is the boyfriend of 11 years.
Yes.
He's amazing. Yes.
I manifested him too.
Yes. Oh, I remember you told me that.
I did. No lie. But so that's what I teach, but I'm still, the executive managing director. Right now, every one of my clients are an eWomen member.
Right. That's amazing.
Not just
too.
my chapter too, so other chapters as well. So it's interesting that people find out what you're doing, and it is that people learn they like you, they know you, they trust you, and they believe that you could be the person that can get them. But they also, what they tell me is, I'm more of a guide. I'm not a coach. I'm guiding them along, and that what they like about it is that I'm doing the work with them. So I'm not telling them to do something I'm not doing, and I'm walking the talk, and they can see it showing up in my life. So that makes them feel comfortable and go, okay, she can help me. I know
she's doing it too. Yeah, because I've had coaches too, and it's like when you get the homework, and some coaches are fantastic, but it's like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this after work. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I call it home play.
This is homework. I'm like, I'm not doing homework.
Mine is called home play.
Home play.
We do home play, and it's just usually. We work on habits, creating new habits around thoughts and your mindset around things. And I just have some really easy tools to help you create new habits that are not a lot of work, because you don't want more work.
No, you don't want. And I think sometimes too, as women, we have these habits that we've had for so long.
Yes.
And we've done so many roles. I mean, we have so many hats that we wear.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
And some days it's overwhelming. So if you can have some type of ease or something that at least that you own, and that you can kind of, like you said, calm down and follow that inner gut, and just kind of say, hey, I need someone to help me along the way, because there are so many hats. I don't care, if your children are young. I don't care if they're 26 and 30 like mine.
Yeah.
And your full-time job, and this, and running a household, and I'm a single
Wait till
parent.
you're a glam mom.
Yeah. So exactly. I can't wait for that though. I'm so excited.
It takes a lot of time, and
it does.
Yeah, and I'm happy that I'm flexible, and I'm
and
able
you
to
can
help
do
my
that,
son. Yeah.
you know, and at some point when my daughters do have children, and hopefully I'll be a little more flexible.
Yeah.
But you know, you have to though. I mean, we like I said, we wear so many hats, and just like even near the holidays, I was having a talk with one of my friends, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And even though it's fun and there's so many things to do, but as a mom and as a friend and employee and everything that we have to do, it's
all
like
the things.
all the things. Yeah. And by the time that holiday gets here, we're like passed out.
Yeah. No, but I don't stress about things anymore. I just and I can see how it really helps with my grandson. Like I'm doing things differently with him than I did with my kids.
Right.
Because I didn't know any better. Right.
Of course. We learn through.
But it's interesting because then they see you doing it with him, going, oh, that's how I need to handle this, you know, more calm and ease and flow.
Right.
You know, I grew up in an Italian household. We yelled and screamed all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and so in meeting Michael 11 years ago, he's like
he seemed just so sweet and calm,
cool, collective, and we're like,
who are you?
We need you. Come into our lives.
Oh, that's great.
So he's my rock. He's so supportive, and
he's got. You have 3 grandchildren with him as well.
He's got 3 grandchildren.
3 grandchildren. Yeah. Okay, so that's wonderful. You're glammy.
I'm glammy.
I love it. I love it.
They do.
Well, I mean, I think you have a full spectrum of everything, Julie, that you've done, and I admire you, and I always have, and I think that you're just a rock star. And I truly appreciate you being on the podcast today.
I'm honored to be asked to be on here. And finally got to pick
a
day.
Yeah, we finally get to pick a day. See, we had to pick a day.
Yes, I'm very proud of you too.
Well, thank you, and happy holidays to your family. And I'll see you at hopefully the next eVIM in January.
See you next month.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.